Russia is currently the main player in shipping goods across the Arctic Ocean from Murmansk to Kamchatka, and they primarily ship oil tankers and liquefied natural gas. Other companies, like Beluga Costco of China and Maersk, have also conducted Arctic test runs, but Russia is still the market leader at this point. The likelihood of the Arctic Ocean serving as a significant shipping route is a matter of debate among experts. Some claim that because of the lack of infrastructure in the ports along the route, it won't be dependable enough for large liner operators. Others, however, think it might be useful as a backup route but won't completely revolutionize shipping around the world. In this video, we will discuss Russia just announced their terrifying Masterplan to take over the Arctic. But before that, please like, subscribe, and click the bell button for the latest economic updates. Now let's get started. Infrastructural investments totaling billions of dollars have already been made by Russia to deliver oil and gas from the Arctic, in keeping with its long-term plan to safeguard its interests in the region, which also includes access to natural resources and strategic control over shipping lanes. It has militarized a small amount of shipping originates from the Canadian Arctic, but the majority of Arctic shipping is destination shipping from the Russian Arctic to markets in Europe and Asia from the Canadian Arctic. The Northern Sea route, which is open to any company, requires a permit from the Northern Sea Administration and is accompanied by an icebreaker. And Russia has invested billions of dollars in the infrastructure needed to transport oil and gas from the Arctic to these markets. However, many businesses choose not to use the route because of the potential environmental risks. Exporting the Arctic is a pristine environment, and shipping in the Arctic is still specialized and dangerous. The environment in the Arctic is still pristine, and shipping there is still specialized and hazardous. The code in place for vessels operating in the Arctic requires ice pilots on board and specific crew training and specific survival gear for ice classes. But there have been instances where vessels have ignored the rules and navigated through heavy ice conditions without proper certification. This raises questions about whether this is due to easier ice conditions because of climate change or for economic reasons. The Northern Sea route is currently being used by Russia to export gas and oil. It comes mainly from the Yamal LNG project by the Russian company NovaTech, which exports about 20 million tons of LNG annually. Some of that goes to Europe, some to Asia, but primarily to China. Gas from NEFF's Novi port or Arctic Gate also exports oil to Europe. And there is also a new terminal called Vostok Oil that was recently announced that will export 25 million tons by 2025 and 100 million tons by 2030. Forecasts indicate that 80 to 100 million tons of oil and gas will be transported via the Northern Sea route by the end of this decade, a significant increase over the previous few years. As a result, the Russian Arctic's previously inaccessible oil and gas resources can now be accessed, demonstrating the significance of Arctic shipping for the country's energy sector. Climate change, the Northern Sea route's oil and gas resources, and new logistical possibilities for Russia all come together. Because Russia is much closer to China than Saudi Arabia and avoids Singapore's Strait of Malacca, it is now China's top oil supplier, surpassing Saudi Arabia. The relationship between Russia and China has been strengthened by Arctic shipping, as China is a big investor in Russian Arctic energy projects and is the recipient of a lot of LNG that flows into China. Because China is a significant investor in Russian Arctic energy projects and the recipient of a lot of LNG that flows into China, the relationship between Russia and China has been strengthened by Arctic shipping, a long-term strategy that has been in place for many years. Meanwhile, is Russia's militarization of the Arctic region. Through the construction of new bases, the improvement of existing ones, and the bolstering of local defenses, the nation has been increasing its military presence in the region. Russian experts claim that doing so safeguards their country's interests in the area, including its access to natural resources like oil and gas and its strategic command over shipping lanes. Despite suffering significant losses in its war with Ukraine, Russia has continued to make these improvements, according to recent satellite images from CNN. The images revealed that Russia has been constructing radar stations, runways, and new weatherproof enclosures for radar antennas. These developments show Russia's dedication to bolstering its military presence in the Arctic region, which is regarded as strategically significant given that the shortest route between Russia and North America is over the Arctic North Pole. This has naturally raised concerns among other countries and military alliances such as the United States. The significant Russian military buildup in the Arctic has been acknowledged by NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, who claims that the alliance has increased its presence in response to the current tensions by a factor of 2. One of the reasons Russia is prioritizing its military presence in the Arctic despite the conflict in Ukraine is because the Arctic region is crucial for its oil and gas industry, nuclear defenses, and a sizable portion of Russia's nuclear weapons and submarine facilities are located there. The Arctic also contributes 20% of Russia's GDP. In addition, Russia is investing in new technologies and weapon systems to increase its military capabilities in the region. The country is even upgrading its icebreakers and plans to build new ones to enable it to navigate in Project Power. This information was revealed by a senior Western intelligence official. Russia has withdrawn up to 3/4 of its land forces from the high north region near the Arctic. These new technologies and weapon systems demonstrate Russia's commitment to enhancing its military capabilities in the Arctic region. Despite the military and economic strains brought on by the war in Ukraine, Russia's long-term strategy of militarizing the Arctic region shows no signs of slowing down. The country continues to invest in the region. Additionally, the Arctic region remains a key area of focus for Russia both militarily and economically, so it is likely that the country will continue to increase its presence in the region in the coming years. This is also a cause for concern for other countries in military alliances in the region as it increases the potential for conflicts and escalation. Do you think it is wise for Russia to claim and dominate the Arctic region, and how do you think this will affect its relations with other countries? However, following accusations from Moscow that the environmentalist organization was acting in an aggressive and provocative manner, armed Russian Coast Guard personnel boarded a Greenpeace ship that was circling an Arctic oil platform on Thursday. According to Greenpeace, Coast Guard agents ascended by rappel from a helicopter onto the ship. Greenpeace International released a statement in which it claimed that the activists who were imprisoned inside the radio room had reported seeing other activists being held on their knees with guns pointed at them. This is pretty terrifying. According to a tweet, Greenpeace claims was sent from the ship before the line of communication was severed. Noisy banging Russian screams are heard. They are still attempting to force open the door. As a result of their actions on Wednesday, 2 Greenpeace activists who had scaled the side of the Gazprom-owned Pereslamnaya platform were detained by the Russian Foreign Ministry for allegedly endangering national security. In order to discuss the situation, Moscow called the Dutch ambassador. Arctic Sunrise, a Greenpeace vessel with 25 people on board, is registered in the Netherlands. Swiss and Finnish nationals make up the 2 people detained for trying to board the oil rig. Increased energy exploitation in the Arctic, which is thought to contain 13% of the world's undiscovered oil reserves and 30% of its undiscovered natural gas, is the target of the protest, which is being held in opposition to the risks to the environment that this poses. Pereslamnaya is a sensitive project in a nation that has prioritized exploiting the region's resources and is Russia's first offshore oil rig in the Arctic. The last time Greenpeace members alighted from the platform was in August. Prior to learning of the armed raid on the boat, the Russian Foreign Ministry released a statement in which it said, "The intruders' actions were of an aggressive and provocative nature and had the outward signs of extremist activity that can lead to people's deaths and other grave consequences." What do you think about this? Let us know in the comments section below. If you found this video informative, make sure to hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update from us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at the next one. Until then, peace.